All right, we are back here on the Section YY8 podcast. I'm Nice, that's Harb. It's been a couple weeks. We took an off week with the Vols, and it is what, Tuesday night, November 18th, and so we're back here in our virtual studios recording. Harb, it's good to see you again. Welcome back.
Good to see you as well.
Yeah, I didn't get to see you Saturday. I was a little sad. It was my birthday, and you weren't there at the game.
I was not. I was in NA, not LA, Northern Alabama, not to be confused with Lower Alabama. On a little golf trip.
There you go. I forgive you.
Had a good time. Good crew. There's 24 of us.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
more than the 20 on the Straw Plains
yeah. It was a good crew.
trip.
Going into it, I knew about roughly three or four of them, but it went well. So,
Well,
how was the tailgate?
Well, it was good the little bit I was there. I was only there. Me and Bowling and Amanda got there. It was about 12:15, 4:15 kickoff. So we got there about 12:15. Crowd was sparse on top of G10 parking lot. Um, got our normal spot and a few people trickled in, but and I'll post these pictures. I've posted it on our Section YY8 socials, but it was, for those that didn't know, it was my birthday Saturday. A great day. It was anytime you get to go to a football game at UT Neyland Stadium and it's your birthday, what better way to spend your birthday, right, Harb? But our boy, Travis Stevens, VFL national champion, Super Bowl champion. A lot of people forget that part. Super Bowl champ with the Bucks. They beat the Raiders, I believe, that year. Um, he has become friends with East Skybox 522 crew, and he called Angie on Friday and said, "Hey, I've got four sideline passes, one for me, but I've got three others. Do y'all want them?" Of course, she said yes, and her friend Chris went, who's always up there in the box and helps her out, getting it set up, decorated, stocked. And so she was like, "I got to call Nathan because it's his birthday." And so I definitely wasn't turning that down. So I got to go in about 2 o'clock and roam the sidelines, pregame only. It wasn't during the game, but got to meet former Vol NFL star Cedric Wilson, and Sterling Pearl was down there. Troy Fleming, VFL, was there, former Titan, and I think Bronco, maybe. Can't remember. He was down there. Saw Mark Brown from Three Ridges Golf Course. He was there. Went inside, saw VFL and former Hornets football head coach, now Principal Rocky Riley, and his wife, Jennifer, who I went to high school with. Saw a former coworker of mine at Parks and Rec, whose husband's a letterman. So they were kind of laughing. They're like, "Man, you know more people down here than Travis Stevens does," but probably not the same level as Travis. Some of the guys Travis knew, but it was cool. A lot of recruits down there on the sideline, but we basically got to stand in the north end zone, right around the side, for about an hour, a little over an hour. But awesome experience. Check out our socials. I put some pictures up of the views, and then went up to the skybox for the game and had a great day. They got me a cookie cake for my birthday, and box was packed. The stadium was packed. That was the thing that like blew my mind about Saturday. We lost to Oklahoma a couple weeks ago, and everybody was down. We're out of the playoffs. What's there left to play for? Which there's still a lot, and we'll get to it. But you look out in the stadium pregame, and it's like, man, the upper deck's already filling up. And then you get in there, and the kickoff happens, and the whole dang place is full. That's pretty incredible. I mean, we still have a lot to play for at Tennessee. I mean, 10-win season still on the table. Yeah, I know we're probably not going to go to the playoffs, but a pretty decent bowl game still on the table. 10 wins. We'll talk about it here in a minute. A chance to beat Florida in the swamp for the first time in 22 years. A chance to possibly derail Vanderbilt's playoff hopes in a couple weeks. So there's still a lot out there to play for. I know probably playing for the playoffs and the national title is out the window, but 9, 10 wins is nothing to sneeze at anymore, Harb, from where we were just 5 years ago. So it was pretty cool to see that many people in the stadium. But I want to thank everybody that came by the tailgate, wished me happy birthday, and East Skybox 522, JWTDG tailgate. Um, we'll do it again here in a couple weeks for the Vandy game. I'm expecting a big tailgate for that game, 3:30 kickoff. So right in the middle of the afternoon, get down there and have some lunch, tailgate a little, and then go watch some football. But great day Saturday, Harb. Hate you missed it.
I had a good day myself, but I am upset that I wasn't with the crew.
A
But
lot of the regulars weren't at the tailgate because they were traveling, doing some other things. Understandable non-conference game against a 3-6 New Mexico State team, but overall, great day, good vibes, good atmosphere, and Vols got a win.
heard that.
So, what do you want to talk about first, Harp? The New Mexico State game or the player that was dismissed?
Oh, that's up to you.
Let's
Uh,
go. Let's go. This is a bigger story than just winning that game to me. Boo Carter, Harbin. He has been dismissed. And this has been a story we've been, if you're not watching, Harbin's waving goodbye. Um, this goes back to the summer when he went MIA for a while. Well, it sounds like begrudgingly let him back on the team with some stipulations and seen there for a while. He was following through with said stipulations, but it seemed like he was never fully invested and wanted to be here for whatever reason. I don't know where the disconnect with him has come from and his family too. He's an in-state guy, Chattanooga area. Like he was a big target of Tennessee's a couple years ago. I don't know what's happened between him and Tennessee, but something obviously did. He didn't want to be here. His mama definitely doesn't want him here. She doesn't want to be here, according to her social media. So he, I don't know what happened last week, but apparently he wasn't even on the sideline Saturday. And then by Monday, he was adios out the door. So it sounded like he was a cancer on the team, Harb. I, I want to say, yeah, I hate to be like this, but I don't know. I hope he can turn it around wherever he goes and figure it out for his sake personally. But it sounds like he's got some family issues with guidance. And I hate it for him because he seems like a talented kid, but probably best he moved on, and probably best Tennessee moves on.
yeah, I think it's a general consensus. It's best for both parties to just move on and part ways, which it does suck. I mean, he's very beloved by the fan base. Like you said, homegrown kid, grew up roughly an hour and a half from Neyland. But it's kind of one of those things that just kind of ran its course. And I'm not going to bash him too much. But yeah, I mean, he can go to Boulder or Baton Rouge or wherever he wants to go. There was something that got pointed out on X, the Everything app. There's a couple clips from plays that kind of, you know how like pictures and videos say a lot more than words do. There was there was a play against UAB that I didn't put a whole lot of stock into because I think we're up 49-10. But it was a big play in the first quarter at Mississippi State. He made a hell of a play. I think they were both blown up screen passes.
Yes.
He went to celebrate and not a single person joined in with him. Which the UAB one I'll give a pass on. I mean, you're up 40. Kind of get that. But the Mississippi State one kind of. kind of spoke volumes, you know.
Yeah.
And his defense is Heupel and staff wanted him to play hurt, which I'm not a doctor and I'm not in the team building, but Heupel being very cut and dry during his presser on, I guess it was Monday or yesterday. They said, should he have been listed on the availability report? And just straight up, he said, no, not according to our doctors or trainers, he said.
Hmm.
I don't know. Like, emotions out of it, it's unfortunate. Just in general, it sucks. But I think it's better for both parties, like I said earlier. And it's not at all, in my opinion, the same scenario as our quarterback from last season, but it kind of is. You know, if you think you're more important than the jersey you put on, you can go somewhere else and do that. Just kind of cut and dry, in my opinion. Like you're either in or you're out,
Yep.
and we got a program, and the program's bigger than the one individual. It just kind of is what it is at that point.
Yeah.
And here we are. And in my humble and honest opinion, probably shouldn't have been on the team for the season opener. We kind of let this drag out a little bit.
Yeah, it was a tough spot for Heupel because if you think about it, if he kicks him off the team back in the summer, everybody's going to be, what are you doing? You're kicking one of our best athletes, our best players off the team. But now he's getting like, why'd you keep him on the team? They looking back on it, and this guy didn't play a ton last year. I mean, he contributed, but Jacoby Thomas, they didn't keep him. They let him walk, and he went to Miami, and he's had a pretty good year down there, and good for him. But Tennessee put their eggs in Boo Carter's basket, and it didn't work out. It's kind of the same thing you think about with the transfer portal. I mean, look at they went with Joey Aguilar, and it's worked out pretty well. But they could have went with what's the kid that ended up at Illinois? He was in the mix there. I mean, he's not had a very good year, and that kid at Kansas State, he was talked about there for a little bit. Him and Kansas State's not had a great year. I mean, Illinois is all right, but it worked out with Aguilar. It didn't work out with Boo Carter. I know it's not the same thing with transfer portal. He was already on the team, but just think about that. Boo Carter, Ricky Gibson the third, Jermod McCoy. That was your three defensive back, safeties, corners, whatever you want to call them. Not a one of them have done anything. Two of them because of injury, and one of them because he's knucklehead. So it kind of makes you look back at the defensive performance this year. And I know I've been critical, you not as much, but a little bit, of the defense, but it kind of sucks. Three players you were counting on have not been on the field hardly at all. And when one of them was, he didn't do anything. He was a liability, a hindrance. So that's what sucks about this era of college football we're in. They went with Farouk, Nation of Domination, and he's a freshman, a lot of upside. But Jacoby Thomas was an older guy. Looking back, hindsight's 2020, but probably should have went with him, but they didn't. And like you said, it's probably best for both that they both move on. Tennessee and Boo Carter and his family, especially Mama Boo.
Mama Boo
Crazy.
six.
She's crazy. I don't want to call her unhinged,
No.
but she's got a little crazy about her posts, especially with her post on Facebook and eggs, just out there. But Boo Carter no longer a Vol, Harb. And remember back, was it last winter when they had to like have a meeting? Was it him? Mike Matthews and Nico, they had to meet with them to sway them and pay them more to come back. And Nico left. Now Boo Carter's gone. Mike Matthews is still here, had a good year. Very good year. So we'll see what we've made it this far. We've made it to 7-3 basically without Boo Carter. I think they can go 9-3 without him. Maybe 10-3 the rest of the way. We'll see. Did you get to watch any of the game Saturday or highlights or anything hard?
I watched a good amount of the second half. Um, didn't see hardly at all the first half. Uh, one thing that I can comment on, I want to get this out of the way before we talk about the game. I saw a lot of people upset about the jerseys. I thought they looked pretty good. I kind of like how we got a different smoky gray every year. That's just me. Kind of like it. A lot of people are upset about the two different tones of gray, and then that were pretty much the whole shebang. I thought they looked good. Sue me, cut my head off, put it on a stake, show up at my house with pitchforks and torches, whatever you want to do. I thought it looked pretty good. I kind of like the military theme. It's
Yeah, I
kind of
thought
what
it
they
was
went for.
thought it was
Some
cool
people
they
are
did
good.
the military thing. I mean, I wasn't a huge fan of them, but I didn't hate them.
They weren't. I mean, they weren't the best smoky grays we've ever done, but I thought they looked good.
No. And I'm okay with these one-off games where they have a black jersey, a gray jersey. Obviously my favorite's the orange and white, but I saw them being down there on the field. They didn't like I looked at them, I was like, man, those I don't know what to think about them. They're all right. They're not to me they weren't great, but they weren't bad either. So I guess I'm getting older. I don't know. I just honestly don't care. I just want a JWTDG.
Yeah.
And
I just saw a lot of, in my opinion, just fake outrage. Just people wanting something to be mad at.
there's a lot of that going around in
If you got
everything.
one, if you got one loss wearing those jerseys, oh my God, they look so good.
Oh yeah.
Just, I don't know. I just wanted to get out and voice my opinion. I thought they looked pretty good.
Um, the game. Honestly, it's hard to watch the game up in the skybox, especially a game like that when you know Tennessee's going to win by whatever score they want to. Um, the parts that I did get to watch, I mean, Tennessee didn't play all that great offensively in the second quarter. Um, what was the score at halftime? 21-3, I think, but they ended up pulling away in the second half. It was 42-3 at one point, final of 42-9. I didn't think it was I'm not I'm not concerned about it by any means because it kind of felt like they were just trying to get through the game, very vanilla. Only thing that stood out to me was um well, a couple things. One positive, the past two games, the tackling has been much better. I think I saw a stat where Tennessee, the past two games combined, have missed 10 total tackles. They've had multiple games this year where they've had that many missed tackles in a single game, plus that much, plus that many. So seems like they're tackling on the defensive side of the football a lot better here the last couple games. And one was against New Mexico State, obviously, the other's against Oklahoma. Um, the other thing is kind of a concerning trend. I mean, it shouldn't shock us seeing his tape from last year's Joey Aguilar. He's not taking care of the football like he should. Oklahoma game, he had some bad turnovers. This game, that first pick, you could kind of say it wasn't his fault. It wasn't a great throw, but it was one of those that was like a 50-50 that, honestly, our receiver probably should have caught it, but he didn't. Another guy caught it. That second pick was terrible. He lobbed it up, terrible footwork. Um, just threw it up. He got a little pressure on him and just lobbed it up and it sailed on him. And he cannot, he cannot do that this Saturday against Florida and Tennessee expect to win. He just cannot go down there and turn the football. This team can't go into this place and turn the football over Saturday. They got to go down there and run the football, and they can't turn it over. But to me, this game Saturday, they just kind of did what they needed to do and got out of there. It didn't. Yes, I saw this guy posted on X, and he was like, "We should have hung 70 on them." Yeah, maybe, but at what point does it matter? Like, who cares? Like, what's the difference in winning 70-9 and 42-9? Like, what are you trying to prove here? You're not going to move up in the college football playoff rankings. You're not going to move up in the AP or coaches poll. Three-quarters of those people don't even watch the games or know what happens. Now they might move them up if they see a 72-9 compared to 42-9, but honestly, who cares? Like, you beat a team that you should have beat by multiple scores. You got out of there fairly unscathed. There was a couple injuries, which we'll talk about here in a minute, but other than that, I just don't have much to say about it, Harb, to be honest, because it was just kind of ho hum.
Yeah. I mean, you remember, I think it was week one. Do you think anybody outside of half of Georgia fans were bitching about them winning? We're only putting 38 on Marshall.
No.
Who can like who cares? You win, you get out. Like you don't show a ton, and you go from there. Like I'm not comparing those two games at all, but it's kind of the same concept.
Couple injuries from that game. Miles Kitselman, apparently, they haven't said anything. The injury reports come out on Wednesday. So when you're listening to this, either it's going to come out later in the day or it has come out by the time you've listened to this. I don't know. I've been trying to read up on Miles Kitselman. Apparently, he was very emotional on the sideline. They said he was hugging some of his offensive coaches in the tunnel. I don't know what you want to make of that. That doesn't sound good. But maybe he's just out for a week or two. I don't even know what the injury. I didn't know he was injured until I heard about it after the game. And then Jackson Moy on the offensive line, he's got some kind of an injury. They're hopeful. I think he comes back and plays Saturday at the Swamp. They need him. He's been one of their best linemen on the line this year, so they need him if he's able to play. But other than that, they came out pretty unscathed. I think. I don't think there was any other injuries that I heard about, but. Tennessee wins, improves to 7-3. College football ranking, playoff rankings came out tonight. Vols remain number 20. I think they're number 20 and 21 in the other polls. So still a top 25 team, although there's some across the country that can't believe us in Missouri are still ranked. But I don't care what they think. Um, Harb, we got a big one on Saturday. Tennessee at Florida. Tennessee's not won in the swamp since 2003. Um, you, you and I don't think I don't know what, I can't remember. I didn't pick Tennessee to win this game earlier in the season, and we'll talk about predictions in a moment. But um, you see all this stuff, and it makes like, is it going against us? That the game's at night. One of Florida's better defensive players is back, and Florida's got a very talented defensive team. I mean, they've got a lot of talent on both sides of that football, even though they're 3-7. I think we're so snake bitten and gun shy that we don't want to think we can win down there. Honestly, I think we're the better team. I think we're the better football program, but we've got to prove ourselves and go down there and win this football game. But I mean, what are you thinking? How are you feeling this about this Saturday, Harb?
Uh,
Seems like most of all nations scared to death, and rightfully so.
yeah, I mean, we've had this discussion for 15 years. Um, I'm gonna ask you two questions. What do you think the average price of, or the price of a gallon of gas was in the state of Tennessee the last time Tennessee beat Florida in Gainesville?
I was gonna say probably around buck 50, maybe.
It's $1.08.
Wow, a lot cheaper than I remember.
Yeah, it's
Because
22 years
I was
ago.
buying gas back then, so
Uh,
The let's see, what was I driving back then?
and the number one song in America. Well, actually, let me look up. Hang on. I might have jumped the gun on you. Let me look up the official date of the Tennessee Florida game in 2003. I
It was
think it
in
jumped
September.
September 20th. Let's see here. Number one song in America. September 20, 2003. What do you think the number one song in America was in 2000 on September 20th, 2003?
Would you give me the genre? Was it pop,
Uh,
country, rock?
Pop.
It was a little after like Britney Spears, Backstreet Boys, and all that. I have no idea. I'm
It was
interested to hear this.
Where's the Love by the Black Eyed Peas.
Wow. I didn't think about that one.
Also, do you know how old I was?
You were two.
No, damn, I'm a little bit older than that. Come on, a little bit.
Oh, sorry. I'm thinking about Reagan. She was born in 2001.
Yeah, I was 5.
Okay. I was 3 years off. Not too far off.
Yeah, damn, give me a little bit of credit here.
I wonder if I listened to that Black Eyed Peas song in my 92 Accord I was driving back then.
I'm sure you did, and you probably paid $1.08 for gas.
I did. And in a 13-gallon tank, I'd love to have that now. Have all
Needless to
kinds of money.
say, needless to say, it's been a long time.
Yeah. Um, it's been a while since we've won down there. Obviously, that game was not Cedric Houston. Jabari Davis scored a couple touchdowns and had a big day. The thing that's remembered about that game was James Banks caught a Hail Mary from Casey Clausen at the end of the first half. Since he was just throwing it to the end zone to end the half, and ball got tipped and he caught it. Vols ended up winning 24-10, if I remember correctly. I remember my uncle going to that game and how I didn't go, but how hot it was, he said that day down there. So obviously this game's going to be at night. It's 2 months later in November. What does Tennessee got to do to go down there and exercise these demons, Harbin? Because we thought we were going to do it 2 years ago against that team, and we ended up trying to fist fight players after the end of the game. You were there.
I was,
Sad.
I was there. Was that Kamal Hadden?
Yes.
Yeah.
Trying to fist he's ready to duke it with that lineman. They're both standing there, if you're watching, with their fist up. There's like a great still photo of that with
Yeah, it's
both.
phenomenal, man. You just gotta go down there and execute. And I know that sounds so vanilla and so stupid, and it's a boring answer. But you go down there and run the football and let your wide receivers make plays, and you don't turn the ball over. You're gonna win the football game. And Florida's gonna be up for this game. I think they quit during the Kentucky game. I don't know if they quit in general, but I do think they quit on DJ Lagway, which he's a Miami Hurricane. I don't know if you've gathered that much.
Hmm.
I'm gonna go ahead and call my shot on that one. He will be a Miami Hurricane. Uh, Now they got a true freshman. They got nothing to lose. They're trying to ball out and get some either eyes on them for the transfer portal or a new coach or just momentum for next year. They're going to be up for this game. They know how long it's been since they have lost to us at home. We have to play well. I know their record sucks, but that goes out the window in games like these. It really does. I mean, we know it better than just about anybody. If you go down there and play conservative and act like, or let's say we go up 7-0, try to sit on it, you're gonna get your ass beat. That's what happened 2 years ago.
Yep.
Remember, I was sitting in, I guess it was the Tennessee section, corner of the end zone. First drive of the game, magnificent drive. I think it was 6 plays. I believe Milton threw it to Dante Thornton in the end zone. Right off the bat, just established tone. Next thing you know, that was the only time we scored going into the fourth quarter, and you're down 19 or 16, whatever was down. It happens that fast. Like you just absolutely just have to execute and don't sit on your hands and wait for something to happen, or you get off to a hot start and try to sit on it. Like you play to win the game. Do I have a whole lot of confidence in that happening? Not necessarily.
Look, here's the
And
deal. Oh, sorry, go ahead. Finish
no,
up.
and just last thing, like I've said this multiple times with us going down there in probably the last like 10 years or so. If we don't do it this year, I don't know when it's going to happen. Well, especially because we don't play every year going
Well, it
forward.
would definitely we'd have to wait till 2029 because we don't go back down there till then.
That's why
But
this one is so important.
yeah, yeah.
Like you finally win for the first time in 22 years, and then they have to stew on it for 4 more. Like that that makes it feel much better. And it helps alleviate the streak a little bit more. But
You mentioned them quitting. They looked terrible. I mean, we didn't record a couple weeks ago, but they looked awful against Kentucky. A bad Kentucky team. Um, but then they went down to Ole Miss, fell behind 10-0. And then the next thing I know, I'm in the truck. When I left the box, it was 10-0. By the time I got to the truck, it was 14-10. I'm like, what happened? Um, I mean, they ended up losing 34-24, and they, really pushed Ole Miss to the limit there. Um, but they didn't do anything in the second half offensively. This team has really struggled offensively for whatever. I don't know. It's quarterback play. DJ Lagway's not been very good. He's been injured most of the year. It looks like here he is 187 of 296, 12 touchdowns, 13 picks, 1,980 yards. Compare that to Joey Aguilar, 212 of 320, 22 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 2,941 yards. Aguilar's going to go over 3,000 yards on the season this Saturday, you would assume, unless he gets hurt or something. And if he has 2 good games to finish the regular season, plays in a bowl game, I think he's got a legit shot to challenge Peyton Manning's single season yardage record. Forget about that. Florida's not been very good this year at all. Obviously, they're 3-7. Their last 5 games, they've lost to A&M at A&M 34-17. They had to hold on and beat Mississippi State 23-21, which is what we did. That one was at home for them. They lost in a neutral site game to Georgia 24-20. Probably played their best game of the year besides that Miami game. Got blown out by Kentucky 38-7, and then lost last week to Ole Miss 34-24. Like you said, if we don't do it this year, we don't have a chance for another 4 years to go, 5 years to go up there and do it, or go down there and do it 2029. But I've talked about games like this before on here, going back to last year, a couple years ago. This is one of those games that if Tennessee wants to be taken seriously as a football program, right now I think Tennessee's at worst a top 10 SEC football team. But if they don't go down there and play well and they choke against this Florida team, I don't know how anybody takes us serious, because this is one of those games. If you want to be taken serious, you need to go down there and take care of business and win the game. Your program's in better shape, your program's in better standing. You're the better football team. Now, you may not be as talented on paper as Florida. I think they've got a ton of talent. You'll probably see that in the draft and if they enter the transfer portal and hit next year. A lot of talent on paper, but the program's a mess. They, fired their head coach. They've not won a whole lot of games. They've looked bad in the process. Like, if Tennessee wants to be taken serious, not only on the SEC stage as a serious player, top 10, but on the national stage, you got to go down there and win this game. There's just nothing else to it. They got to go down there and win this game. And I have a lot of serious questions. If they go down there and they don't play well, they turn the ball over, they dick around, and they end up losing, I'm not saying we need to fire Josh Heupel. I just got a lot of questions because good teams, good programs with good coaches don't go down there and lose this game. It might not be the easiest win. I'm not expecting Tennessee to go down there and win by three scores, but they need to go down there and win and take care of business. But if they don't, I got a lot of questions. A lot of questions.
Let me ask you this. This little pardon my take question. Is this more of a must win or a can't lose for Tennessee?
I don't think it's a must win, but I think it's a can't lose.
See, I'm opposite from you. I think this is an absolute must win for Tennessee. I can't lose would be like, let's say we had two losses. Let's say we beat Oklahoma, for example, and we're still in playoffs or like right there teetering on the playoffs. This is a can't lose. You're not there, but the season is salvageable if you beat Florida and Gainesville and beat Vanderbilt. And I don't think a whole lot of people put too much stock into the bowl game, but you win the bowl game, it's 10-win season. 10 looks way better than 9.
Yeah, it does.
This is an absolute must win. I think for, well, the program for sure, but I think it's a must win for Josh Heupel. I do. And it's not like he gets fired Monday morning if they lose. I'm not saying that whatsoever. But it's kind of what you were saying, like take us seriously and just get the damn monkey off our back. Like it's all this fan base can think of is the battered Vols syndrome. It's really the one thing that we haven't exercised in the last, I'll say 10 years because we haven't beat Georgia in 9. But you have, yeah, I mean, you have to. There's been so many times where you had them beat, especially down there. Like you go back to 2015 when it was was it 4th and 18 to Callaway? And then Medley misses the 55-yarder by that
Yeah,
much.
yeah. After Butch Jones decided not to go for two, up
Right.
up 13.
And
Or
then 20
yeah,
and then 2017.
up 12, sorry.
And then 2017 we ended up going 4-8 that year, but we let Felipe Franks throw the Hail Mary directly over both our safeties. Just one of the worst defensive plays of all time. Good throw. I'll give him that. Um, and then you look at 2021, that one was a little bit different, but I believe was it Jimmy Holiday?
Yes.
Drops that fourth down play. If he catches that, I believe it's a tied game.
Think if I remember, yes, I think that's right.
And then they ended up pulling away afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Which not saying you win the game if that gets completed, but and then 2 years ago in 23, you go down there and just lay an absolute egg. You score the first possession of the game, then you're down 23-7 going into the fourth. Just try to just sit on it. You have to. You absolutely have to win this football game.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
just, it's imperative. That
do you think it's one of these things that if they win, again, I said a second ago, I'm not expecting us to, like, if we win, to like blow them out, but you see this happen every now and then when like this like streaks go on and on and on. It ends up in one of two spectacular fashions. It's a really close game and something big happens and they end up winning late, or they just blow a team out of the water. I'm not saying they is Tennessee. I'm just saying teams in general who have faced similar situations where streaks in. Do you think Tennessee goes down there? I mean, obviously we're better than Florida. Look what they did against Kentucky. And we did the opposite to Kentucky. Uh, you know, could you see us going down there and just dominating Florida?
No. Short answer. No, I couldn't. Because we're much better than Mississippi State. I
Yeah,
know it's different. That's not a rivalry game. But it's kind of similar situation.
yeah.
Like
Eh,
Mississippi State's not great. I think they're better than what people give them credit for. And I'm not necessarily just saying that because we beat them and I want it to look better than what it is. You had a few opportunities to beat the hell out of them. You didn't, and you went to overtime, and Deshaun Bishop bails you out. You had multiple opportunities to beat Kentucky by 40, and every time you got up 21 or 14 or 17 or whatever it was, they scored.
Yep.
I could very much so see a position where we get up 14 to 17 points somewhere around halftime or early third quarter, and all of a sudden everybody's biting their fingernails. I could 1000% see that happening. And do we pull it up? Maybe. Do we not? Maybe not. Like I just do not see a scenario under the big bright sun that we blow this team out. I just don't see it.
So I'm gonna put you on the spot here. I know. Did you pick Florida to win this game preseason? I can't
No,
remember.
they're not.
So I did. I picked Tennessee to lose. Now, when I was picking that game, I didn't expect Florida to be 3-7 at this point. There's a lot transpired. I thought, and I didn't think they were going to win the SEC or anything, but I thought they'd probably be about where we are, 7-3, 6-4 ish range. Does Tennessee go down there and win this thing, or do they lose hard? What do you think?
Hearts in one space, heads in another.
What is your what is your head telling you?
Knee jerk, no pause. My head says no, and it pains me to say that out loud. That just is what it is.
My head is telling. Oh,
Do
sorry.
I
Go ahead.
think we'll have every opportunity to win this football game? Yes, I do. But based on the great sample size that we have, if we go down there and coach not to lose in a road night game, don't even go down there. I won't even
Yeah.
turn the TV on. It's not going to happen. Like, it's a rivalry game. You have to take some chances. You have to be aggressive. And I just haven't seen that in very many road games under this regime. And normally I'm the one talking you off the ledge, and maybe roles are reversed for this episode, make it a little bit more fun. I don't see a whole lot of play calling and schematics being very different, and I think we lose a heartbreaker. I think we have every opportunity to put them away, and we don't. It is what it is.
I mean, I'm going to look at it from. Here's my analytic. You're looking at it from your gut analytics, right?
Yeah, gut analytics.
I'm looking at it from the analytics. Tennessee's a better football team than Florida. Their win-loss record's better. They're statistically better on a lot of areas of the field. Um, the computers give Tennessee a 65% chance to win this football game. Um, Vegas says, depending on where you look, we're either 3.5 or 4.5 point favorites. And you got to think, Florida's probably getting a couple 3 points by being at home. So they're basically saying Tennessee's probably about 6, 7 points better than Florida. Um, 6, 7, 6, 9. I think Tennessee wins this game. I think they're the better football team. But you're right, Harb. If they go down there and they get, you know, this Josh Heupel where he gets like super conservative and plays very carefully, is just not going to cut it in this game. Now you don't want to put players in an area where they're going to make a mistake and it costs your football team. That's different. But if you get go up 7-0, Florida turns the ball over, about midfield, you can't go out there and run it 3 times right up the middle in a row. Now you may break one, but you just can't do that in this game. And Tennessee can't go down there and get behind the chains offensively, false starts, lining up wrong, holding, illegal hands to the face, all that BS. They just can't go down there and do that stuff and expect to win. I, but I'm going to pick Tennessee to win, and I'm changing from the preseason because I didn't expect Florida to be this poor. Honestly, I mean, honestly, didn't think they would, make the playoffs or win the SEC or anything like that. But I didn't expect them to be 3-7 at this point. They've been awful. Um, and there's a reason their record's 3-7. There's a reason their record's 3-7. They're not very good, but they're loaded with talent, and you can't dismiss that. I think it's a tight game, but I think Tennessee, they either find a way to win or they hold on. And I don't care which one it is, as long as they win. I'm going to be super pumped if they win. And then we can move on and worry about Vandy. But there's a lot of angst, a lot of tight buttholes going into this game. Yeah, I mean, Tennessee fans are nervous wreck, and rightfully so. I mean, we talked about it. What have we seen over the past 22 years going down there? I went down there in '07, and they just blew the doors off of us, and we were a pretty decent football team back then. You go down there in '09, and I don't really remember much about that game, but we didn't win. And 11, we were god awful, and 13, we weren't much better. And then 15, you honestly should have won that game. 17, we were awful and lost on a Hail Mary. 19, I don't remember that game, Harp. What did we do in 19 down there?
Or got the shit kicked out of us.
Probably so. 21, we mentioned that, but then 23 was the one that was like, man, we're going down there. We're the better team. Florida's on the ropes, and we just played awful. Jumped out 7-0 and couldn't do anything the rest of the game. But there's an opportunity here for this football program, this coaching staff, and some of these players to exercise some demons and show the conference, the Southeastern United States, and this game's on ABC. Chris Fowler, Herb Street, Holly Rowe,
How
Peter.
how bad is the slate for this week?
Well,
If we're the primetime ABC
that's
game,
what I was looking at here a minute ago. I mean, I guess Herb Street and Fowler are calling the game because it's SEC, but like, I mean, there's not very many good games around the conference Saturday. I mean, Missouri's at Oklahoma. That's at noon. Other than that, it's a bunch of bye games. Arkansas's at Texas. They're not going to go there, but on paper, Tennessee at Florida is not a great matchup, but it's Tennessee, Florida. And I don't know what other games they had to choose from across the nation, but why? And I was wondering the same thing. Like, Herb Street's going to be down there with his damn dog running around, and um, it's going to be on ESPN primetime or ABC primetime. I don't know why, but that's the one thing that worries me because it's going to be on ABC primetime. There's probably obviously going to be a lot of eyeballs on that game, and if you go down there and play poor and lose this game, people are going to laugh at us. They're going to laugh at us, and we're not going to be taken seriously. And Vandy's going to come in here next week and beat us.
hey, by the way, did you know? Speaking of Kirk Herbstreit, did you know that he was the first person in America to ever have a dog die?
I didn't know that. Bless his heart.
No. Just figured I'd throw that
I'm
out there.
about I'm like a lot of others. Like I love dogs, but I'm about sick of seeing that dog on
I mean,
TV.
dogs are cool, but
Yeah, they are. Runner, the dog runner in Spartanburg, awesome. I hung out with him Saturday night after the game, but
uh, his dog ain't got nothing on Frank though.
no, absolutely not.
No, Frank's the OG.
So power rankings, Harb. What you got?
Well, I made a list.
You still got Kentucky at 16?
No,
Oh no!
I don't.
Oh my word! What has happened?
So when you beat Florida by 31, and another team that's close to you blows a 27-point halftime lead, you get flip flopped. So we've got South Carolina at 16. I think the only reason Shane Beamer still has a job today is because their dumbasses extended him in the offseason this past year. That was a Jeremy Pruitt extension. I just like you get up 30-3 in College Station. That part is one of the most impressive things I think I've ever seen. Which Texas A&M played maybe the worst half of American football of all time.
I didn't
But
get to
then,
watch it, but it looked bad.
but then South Carolina acted like the game was over, and it just wasn't. Also, hater and loser nominee. I don't know if it's who I'm picking, but that Texas State trooper,
Oh yeah, that was awful.
bad luck. But yeah, you blow a 27-point lead at halftime. You're you're shit. It's like Moneyball. There's good teams, there's bad teams, there's 50 feet of crap. Then there's South Carolina. Now I got Kentucky right above them. Kentucky actually beat an undefeated Tennessee Tech squad this weekend.
Good for them.
That counts for something. At 14, I've got Arkansas. 13, Mississippi State. It's kind of funny because I've got Mississippi State in the middle of the tier of teams that don't have a coach, but they have a coach,
Yeah.
which is weird. So, in order, Arkansas, Mississippi State, Florida, and LSU. Those are the four. Those are the four job openings in the SEC as of right now. And Mississippi State's somewhere in the middle of that. Wherever you want to put them, it's fine. Um, at 12, I've got Auburn. Actually, no. At 13, I've got Auburn, and at 12, I've got Mississippi State. I still have the smallest little bit of hope in Jeff Levy. I'm hanging on to it. At 11, I've got Florida. Wait for them to shoot up in the power rankings come next
Yeah.
week.
Skyrocket.
Yeah. 10, LSU. They're just kind of floating in the blah land. Kind of waiting to see if they get Lane Kiffin or somebody else. 9 is Texas. They got absolutely throttled in Athens. I expected Georgia to win. I didn't expect it to look like that. At 8, I've got Tennessee. Just kind of dead middle of the pack. Or I think we're at the top of the bottom of the top, whatever you want to call it. Just pretty mid.
Mhm.
That's just what we are. 7, I've got Missouri. I think us two are interchangeable. Or if you feel like putting them, don't think they kicked off one of their most talented players this week. So that's why I gave them the edge in the power rankings. 6 is Vandy, still hanging on by a thread. 5, I boosted up Oklahoma. Still think they're at 5. Don't think they're any higher than that. I got them at 5. 4, Ole Miss. And then the top 3, I did a little bit of shake and bacon. I've still got Bama at 3. I still think they're better than Ole Miss, especially because Ole Miss may be coachless going into the week of Thanksgiving. Something to keep an eye on. And at two, I've dropped Texas A&M. Yes, incredible comeback, but you let South Carolina get up on you by 27, so you cannot be number one. And at one, I've got Georgia because I think them boys and Mike Bobo figured something out the last couple weeks, and it looks scary.
They look totally different than when they played us.
Hell yeah, they do.
So
And that's why they're number one in my power rankings.
before I do mine, quick question. You said you think Ole Miss may not have a coach come Thanksgiving weekend. You think Kiffin bolts before they even have, I mean, they're in the playoffs.
Well, did you not see what Ole Miss did today?
I have not. I did not have a chance to look at much social media today. What happened?
So, in light of his recent travel news, which I don't know if he went, but family members of his visited Gainesville and Baton Rouge, respectively, on Sunday and Monday, which is wild to do middle of the year.
Supposedly.
Ole Miss has given him an ultimatum. They said that they said that he has to tell them if he's going to be their coach before the Egg Bowl,
Wow. I'm just now seeing this.
which is so dumb, really, because Ole Miss has zero leverage unless they've got pictures of him. Well, I was going to make a joke about recent national news, but I'm not going to do that. Um, uh, unless they've got a lot of blackmail on this guy. What a dumb move. Because you know how Lane Kiffin is. If you're like, hey, you have to tell us before the biggest game of the year and the playoffs and our best year in school history if you're going to be our coach or not. You're not going to coach these games. Do you think he gives a shit?
I did see something today too that the most expensive home in Gainesville went off the market today here on Tuesday. What does
Um,
that mean? What does that mean?
I do know I'd much rather him be in Baton Rouge than Gainesville.
It's wild. This conference, man, I'm telling you, it is some it's a my sister said it one time I was talking to her not long ago. Um, it's a soap opera. This football conference is a soap opera. Really, a lot of the sports are, but especially football. It's a dang soap opera.
Well,
Coaches,
especially when you get Lane Kiffin involved.
yeah. Well, you just look at you got Lane Kiffin and apparently his daughter Landry and her mama, Lane's ex-wife, were apparently flying to Gainesville and then Baton Rouge. Supposedly, you got LSU fans sitting in camo, hiding out at the airport, trying to take pictures of the private plane. Somebody supposedly took. It looked like a picture that Chad Grubb likes to show us all the time of Bigfoot. It's blurry, but you see a guy who somewhat resembles Lane Kiffin walking off of a plane. It's like, what? Golly, what is LSU's a mess. Florida's a mess. Arkansas is just floating around. I don't know what they're doing. Um,
Apparently, Arkansas expected to get James Franklin, and they
I thought
didn't.
Arkansas was getting what's his name from Memphis State.
Well, they probably are now.
I thought that dude was gone. But
Yeah, but
anyways,
apparently, a lot of fans thought they were getting James Franklin. Did not happen.
yeah, he's if you haven't heard, he's going to Virginia Tech. I did see that today. My power rankings, I'll go through these fairly quickly. I've still got Kentucky at 16. I know they blew out Florida, but they're still not good. They did beat Tennessee Tech. You mentioned they were 10 and 0. Tennessee Tech's got a legit chance to make the playoffs in FCS, although they're apparently I was reading their strength of schedule is pretty weak. But Kentucky was, it's kind of weird to say they were only 24-point favorites in that game. Compare that to like Tennessee playing New Mexico State. We were 40-point favorites. Two different teams, though. I've got Arkansas at 15. They're just not good. Um, South Carolina, 14. They're also not good. And they also, I honestly kind of wanted to drop them lower, but I think they would beat Arkansas and Kentucky. Um, I mean, Shane Beamer walking off the field at halftime, throwing his arms, flailing everywhere, trying to get the crowd up, and then you come out and lose. Um, and they're not going to get rid of him. I mean, they're talking. I was reading at lunch today. They're talking today about what offensive coordinator he's going to hire next year. And I'm like, I guess South Carolina's dug in with. They're in with him. I've dropped Florida to 13. They looked awful against Kentucky a couple weeks ago. They looked a little better against Ole Miss, but they're still not good. Mississippi State at 12. They're 5-6 after a 2-win season last year, so a little bit of improvement. They got a chance to shock the world and beat Ole Miss Thanksgiving weekend and get 6 wins and go to a bowl game. I've got Auburn at 11. They honestly should have beat Vandy a couple weeks ago, and they didn't in Nashville. Um, I don't know if they even played last weekend or not. They don't have a coach. I've got them at 11. LSU also doesn't have a coach. That program's a mess right now. I guess they have an AD, maybe. They're at 10. Texas is at 9. Everybody started pumping them up again. Um, let's just call them. I said this a couple weeks ago. Call them what they are. They're just not very good. They can't run the football. Arch Manning's all sporadic, all over the place. Georgia just laid the wood to him there in Athens Saturday night. I got Missouri at 8, 7-3. Again, haven't really beaten anybody this year worth much significance, but I guess a nice season for them. I don't know if Dorkwitz will be there next year or not. I don't know why he would leave, but got a pretty decent program he's built up there. They're adding on to the stadium. It looks like they're investing some money, but I don't know, where does he go? Penn State?
If Penn State calls you, absolutely leave
Yeah,
it.
he'll go. I mean, I guess you could say I couldn't blame him there, but um, Tennessee at 7, like you said, Missouri, Tennessee kind of interchangeable there. Um, Tennessee's not bad. They're not a bad football team. They're not great either. They're just are what they are. They're a good football team, decent to good football team. When they're playing well, they're good, and when they're not playing well, they're just mid. Vandy at 6. I think they were off this past weekend. So um, I don't know who they've got. They've got Kentucky this weekend, and then Tennessee in Neyland Stadium Thanksgiving weekend. I dropped Alabama to 5. Lost in Bryant Denny Stadium to Oklahoma. Uh, Bama fans are not happy. So they've got to beat Auburn here in a couple weeks. I don't know who they play this weekend. Um, some somebody not good. So they're going to have to beat Auburn in a couple weeks to go to the college football playoff.
Alabama plays Northern Illinois,
Okay, the Huskies.
some directional Illinois school. It's either Jordan Lynch or Drew Brees
I've got Ole Miss at 4.
or Tony
Um,
Romo, not Drew Brees. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
Tony Romo is Eastern Illinois.
Yeah,
Yes.
sorry. Drew Brees was Purdue. My bad.
Um, Ole Miss at 4. They just found a way to win against Florida at Vaught Hemingway. Um, I don't think they're the best team in the conference, but they're better than I think they're better than Vandy, Tennessee, and Missouri for sure. I don't know about Alabama, but they don't play. I don't know if they. I don't think they play this year. Um, Oklahoma, I vaulted them up to 3. Man, that defense is playing really well right now, and they're missing some guys. They're just playing good foot. They're playing good, solid football right now. I don't know if they're the third best team in the conference, but I put them there because I think they're better. I think they would beat Ole Miss right now. They obviously beat Alabama. I think they would beat Vandy. They beat Tennessee, and they've got Missouri this weekend. So Missouri's got a chance to vault up if they can beat Oklahoma. I kept Georgia at 2, but obviously they have found something like you said. And I kept Texas A&M at 1. What a comeback! Down 30-3 at halftime. Um, I don't know why, what happened. I didn't get to watch the game, saw the highlights. What in the world? Why were you down 30-3 to South Carolina? But it showed a lot of guts, intestinal fortitude, whatever you want to call it, to come back and win that game. I kept them at number one, but it's almost like a 1A, 1B with them in Georgia. I think honestly, Georgia would probably beat them right now if they played, but I kept A&M at number one because they're undefeated. So that is my top 16 in the power rankings. And as Harb always says, if you don't like my power rankings or his, create your own and send it to us. Got anything else, Harb?
We can touch basketball for a second.
Oh yeah. I went to the game last night against the Rice Owls. That was one of the smallest crowds I've ever seen since Rick Barnes elevated Tennessee to to where they're at nationally. It was a weird night. Monday night, 8:30. We're playing Rice.
It was
Um,
at 8:30.
yeah,
So what's funny is I completely forgot they played last night. I just
and like
assumed.
a lot of other people did too.
I just always assume that they're going to play on Tuesday. It was just one of those
It's
weird things.
weird this week they play Monday and then they play Tennessee State on Thursday night. Like, why are they playing Monday and Thursday? I don't know if it has something to do because next week they play on Monday out in Vegas at the Players Invitational. I don't know if that had something to do with it when they were putting the schedule together, but Tennessee's not really played anybody. I mean, can't count Duke. They did play them preseason, but it didn't count. Tennessee's schedule starting out, you can look at it one of two ways. They've scheduled pretty weak to start out the first few games. I don't think it really matters. There's some on the national stage that have said a few comments about Tennessee's first five games. I mean, Mercer, North Florida, Rice, Tennessee State, and I can't remember the other one, but um, Northern Kentucky. Those first three, let's see, North Florida, Northern Kentucky, and Mercer were all in Ken Palm like number 220 or lower. Rice Owls yesterday were the highest ranked that we played, and they were like 170. They had a couple nice players that could score. I don't think Tennessee played. They had some lapses defensively.
Well,
Um,
their best player went over,
yeah,
according to the TV broadcast. I didn't watch it. I was at work, and like I said, I completely forgot they played.
but they've Tennessee scored 90 plus three times already this year, which I don't know what you make of that, but JP Estrella went down with some kind of a knee injury last night. It was a weird play because he kind of got rolled up on. Um, Rick Barnes didn't really say a lot today in media availability when he was asked about it. He didn't sound like it. I mean, he didn't come out and say he tore his ACL. It was season ending. I don't know when he had his pressers this morning, but he sounded optimistic that he would be back, but they didn't. He sounded also like he didn't know what it was. So I've not heard anything. It's 11 o'clock here on Tuesday night. I've not seen or heard anything else about it. I don't expect him to play Thursday, obviously, and we'll see, moving forward with what the injury is. I was looking, I couldn't see from where we were sitting, but apparently he came back out on the bench in the second half and was with the team. Um, he wasn't really walking all that well when he walked off the court, so we'll see. But um, yeah, Tennessee's got, I believe, next Monday they play Rutgers. I'm gonna pull up the schedule here. They play Rutgers out in Vegas in that Players Invitational, which, by the way, the Players Invitational has absolutely killed the Maui Invitational hard. Have you seen the Maui Invitational? There's the next 2 years, the teams that are playing, there's no blue blood. There's always blue bloods in Maui. There's none the next 2 years. I think there's only one ranked team in Maui this year. But Tennessee plays in the Players Era Men's Championship. First game is Monday at 1 o'clock p.m. versus the Rutgers at the MGM Grand Garden Arena. And then on Tuesday night at 6 o'clock, same arena, they play the Houston Cougars, who were number one in the country, now number two. Big matchup there, rematch from the Elite Eight. And then we play TBD on either Wednesday or Thursday. All games can be found on HBO Max or TNT. I don't know who we could end up playing. I don't know who else is in this. Let's see who's in this event. Harb, what do you think about the basketball team while I'm looking this up?
I think we're good. Uh, Admittedly, haven't watched a lot of them this year. I've watched a little bit. I've seen highlights. I think there's going to be a little bit more emphasis on scoring the basketball than playing defense, especially for the Rick Barnes era. Um, it's also November 19th when this episode comes out. It's it's too early to call. We haven't played anybody. We could be world beaters or we could be decent. You don't know. I can promise you one thing. We're about to find out over the next like 2 or 3 weeks. We're
Yeah.
definitely going to find out something. But
So look,
I think we've got a ton of talent. I think we're deep. I hope JP Estrella's injury is very minor. Probably going to miss some time regardless. Let's hope it's not a long time because he's been playing some very, very, very good basketball so far this season. Yeah, I mean, I think I say this every year when we do this. Let's try not to overreact to November basketball.
yeah, you do. That's right.
Let's just try to do that. We can overreact to March basketball.
I was having to tell myself that, like watching the game last night, watching a couple games on TV, they've looked at different times, and of course, in a basketball game, this can happen. They just looked like a team that's not played a lot of basketball together, and they haven't. There are a lot of new faces on the team, a lot of new pieces. But then there's times where they just look like they could meet anybody in the country. And I think you're right. They are a much deeper team, especially in the post this year, but they look like they could score a lot more this year than they did last year too. With Gillespie and Ament, um, and then Ethan Berg, I think, is starting to come around. Rick Barnes last night after the game was praising Jalen Carey, and I think Estrella's had a really good season so far, except now that he's injured. We'll see. So let's see. Monday, session number one is Tennessee versus Rutgers, Kansas versus Notre Dame, Houston versus Syracuse. Session number two is Alabama versus Gonzaga, Maryland versus UNLV. And then on Tuesday, Rutgers versus Notre Dame, Kansas and Syracuse, and then Tennessee versus Houston. Tuesday night, Alabama versus UNLV, Gonzaga versus Maryland. Alabama Gonzaga game will be good there on Monday night.
Correct
Uh,
me if I'm wrong. That didn't you just name two rematches of the NCAA tournament last year?
Houston and Tennessee and Alabama and Gonzaga. That's
Yeah,
right, isn't it?
that was that Sweet 16,
I think that one was, yes.
and then obviously we were Elite Eight.
So it says Wednesday's matchups will be determined based on the outcomes of the games played Monday and Tuesday. Teams pairing will be announced following the conclusions of sessions one through four. Um, doesn't look like they play Thursday, so it looks like it's just Wednesday. So I don't know who will play. Honestly, don't think we'll play Syracuse because we play them in a couple weeks. At Syracuse at the Carrier Dome or whatever they're calling that place now. I mean, obviously we could end up playing Notre Dame, Kansas. Uh, I don't think we would play Alabama. We could play UNLV, Maryland, or Gonzaga. Rutgers, Kansas, Notre Dame, Gonzaga, Maryland, or UNLV, I'm guessing is who they would probably try to match us up with. I don't think they're going to put us against Alabama. I don't think they're going to put us against Syracuse because they're already on our schedule. Why would we play them twice? So that's what you got to look forward to with basketball. Baseball news, Harb. San Francisco hired a pitching coach. It wasn't Frank Anderson. So Frank Anderson should be back with the Diamond Balls next year. On Friday last week, we lost our strength and conditioning coach, Quentin Eberhard, I think is his name. Went to San Francisco with Tony Vitello. But they hired this other guy who had been with the Brewers and the Cubs, I believe. So, and he had worked with Quentin. So that was kind of a big loss. That guy was a big part of the program. We'll see how this new guy fits in. But that's some quick baseball news. I don't have anything else, Harb. That's all I've got on the Volunteers front.
Me too.
You nervous? You look
Am I?
nervous.
No, I'm not nervous. I'm side eyeing the end of this Duke Kansas game.
You know, if going into this game as a Tennessee fan, we're kind of like the Joker, Harvey. You want to know how I got these scars?
Yeah.
And then proceed to tell him about Tennessee losing at the Swamp all
Yeah.
these many years.
Well, it's also like I want to put like $5,000 on Florida money line. Also going along with the Joker. It's not about the money. It's about sending a message.
Yes.
If you sway the money enough in Vegas's favor, we may get some calls down there. So it's
Maybe, yeah.
how bad do you want?
Everything burns.
Sure does.
John
Cash,
Doty,
cash is flammable.
friend of the show, John Doty said, put your mortgage on the Gators. I don't know how I want to do that, but they're a lot smarter than I am.
It's just annoying because we should win. But I've seen this movie before.
I
And it's a loss until it's not.
Yeah, I've got a big 2 weeks left here of our college pick'em game. I know you're not in it, but I went 8-4 again this week. I am now sitting alone in second place, two games clear of our friend of the show, Brett Stanton, and I'm about 9 games out of first place in this group. But if I can find a way, I gotta go 6-6, 7-5, 8-4, like minimum. I can't be going 3-9 or 4-8 to finish here and choke this thing away to finish in the top five. But really want to finish second because it's a big payout if you do. But this has been the best year of college pickup I've had in a while. And I'm hoping to continue it. I got to stick to my game, Harb. I've got a plan, stuck to it all year, and it's worked. So I just don't want to be like Tennessee and go down to the swamp and choke. But great to be back on here, Harv. I know it took us a couple days to get back here, but great to be back on. Thank you guys for listening and girls. Again, appreciate everybody coming out to the tailgate this past Saturday. I know it wasn't our normal crowd, but several people stopped by. Matt and Laura from Nashville, they came by. And then obviously the skybox for my birthday. Appreciate all of that. Um, but appreciate everybody listening. And remember, you can find us if you're watching us and you want to listen to us, like driving around or working out or mowing or whatever you're doing, blowing leaves around outside, mulching leaves. You can listen to us on Apple, Spotify. If you're listening to us and you haven't checked out our YouTube channel, be sure to do that. Like, subscribe, and comment. And you can watch us on there. If you're sitting around at home Saturday morning and don't want to watch game day, watch us instead on the YouTube. So appreciate everybody listening to us wherever you listen to us. Harv, I'm gonna get off here and edit this thing. I am way behind on the Internet Invitational. I just started it the other day and I'm still on episode one. I don't watch TV much anymore, so I'm way behind. But
You are very behind.
I'm very behind, weeks
Considering it's
behind.
over. Yeah.
Yes, I know. I know. And it's somehow I've not seen who won, which is crazy.
Well, you were
Thomas and
very lucky because I got the final episode ruined for me, and I'd watched the other five. So
That sucks. Well, I'm about done with episode one. I was watching it before we came in here to record, and I'm gonna finish it up and then try to watch it as the week goes on. It's just a bad time of year for me to try to watch TV shows during the week. So, anyways, Harb, I don't know if I'll see you this weekend or not, but if I don't, go Vols. If I do, We'll either celebrate together or we'll destroy someone's house together after a loss.
Your house.
I don't want to destroy my house. I just want to destroy whoever's house I'm watching it at.
No, yeah. Get the tables.
Yeah, get the
Well,
table.
hopefully we adjust JWTDG the damn game and we won't have to worry about it.
Yes, absolutely. Always remember that, folks. JWTDG, whether you're at work or you're playing or you're watching the Vols. JWTDG. For Harb, I'm Negative Niece. Thank you guys for listening. We'll see you guys later this week on the Section YY8 podcast.